Good morning, students. We have started the revision of all chapters. In that process, in the last class, we have completed the revision of transportation. Let us discuss the revision of excretion. In our body and in the bodies of plants, many waste materials are generated in different processes. If you observe the plants, the chief activities which are studied by us are photosynthesis and respiration. In photosynthesis, the gaseous waste that is produced is oxygen. In respiration, the gaseous waste that is produced is carbon dioxide. So, the gaseous wastes generated in photosynthesis and respiration are removed through stomata of the leaves and pores present on the plant body surface in plants. Carbon dioxide is produced by cellular respiration. This carbon dioxide is removed by exhalation process in animals after the completion of gases exchange at lungs. Apart from cellular respiration and photosynthesis, many metabolic processes take place in both plants and animals. These metabolic processes generate nitrogenous waste materials, which are harmful if accumulated in the body. So in metabolic processes, many metabolic wastes are produced. These metabolic wastes are mainly nitrogenous wastes like urea, uric acid. These are harmful if accumulated in the body. So they have to be removed from the body. The biological process which is involved in the removal of harmful metabolic wastes from the body. The biological process involved in the removal of harmful metabolic wastes from the body is called excretion. In unicellular, that is single-celled organisms, the removal of metabolic wastes is carried out by simple diffusion process from the body surface into their surroundings. Mostly the surroundings are water. Unicellular organisms remove the harmful metabolic wastes by simple diffusion from the body surface into the surrounding water. In multicellular organisms, different strategies are used by these organisms. They use complex specialized organs or organ systems for excretion. So human beings also are multicellular complex organisms. In human beings, excretion is carried out by a special organ system called excretory system. The organ system in human beings for the process of excretion is excretory system. This excretory system includes a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. So first two parts are in pairs. Last two parts are only one. A pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. You all must practice the diagram, that is figure 6.13 of page number 110 of life process chapter that has explained the structure of kidneys. Okay, let us learn about the kidneys. Kidneys are bean-shaped organs. As already said, a pair of kidneys are present in our body. Where are they located? Kidneys are located in the abdomen, especially lower abdomen. A pair of kidneys are there. So each one is located on either side of the backbone. Let us see the total phases of urine formation. Kidneys, they produce urine. Urine is produced in kidneys. This produced urine is passed through ureters into urinary bladder. Urine is stored in urinary bladder until it is released through urethra. So total we have learnt about 4 parts of excretory system. A pair of kidneys. What are they doing? They are producing urine. A pair of ureters. What are they doing? They are passing the urine from kidneys into urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, what is it doing? It is storing the urine. And what is urethra? Urethra is releasing the urine out from the body. Okay. These are the functions of the 4 parts of excretory system. Okay. What is the purpose of making urine? The purpose of making urine is to filter out waste products from the blood. By various metabolic processes, many waste products are generated in the cells. These waste products that are generated by metabolic processes in the cells are collected by the blood. From the blood, these waste products have to be removed out or filtered out. So the purpose of making urine is filtering out the waste products from the blood. Now let us compare the function of lungs with the function of kidneys. Compare the function of lungs with the function of kidneys. Carbon dioxide is removed from the blood in the lungs, whereas metabolic nitrogenous wastes are removed from the blood in the kidneys. So in lungs, from blood, what is removed? Carbon dioxide. In kidneys, from the blood, what is removed? Metabolic nitrogenous wastes. Okay. To remove carbon dioxide, there is a cluster of capillaries in the lungs. A cluster of very thin-walled capillaries is present in the lungs in attachment with alveoli. So alveoli are having single-celled thickness. Capillaries also are having single-celled thickness. By means of diffusion, there is at lungs in blood capillaries, partial pressure of CO2 is more, and in alveoli, partial pressure of oxygen is more. So from blood capillaries, CO2 will diffuse in to the alveoli. From alveoli, oxygen will diffuse in to the blood capillaries. This is how their CO2 is removed from blood capillaries into lungs. Like in lungs, there is a cluster of very thin-walled blood capillaries as the basic filtration unit in the kidneys. And the cluster of very thin-walled capillaries in the lungs is associated with alveolus. Here, the cluster of very thin-walled blood capillaries as the basic filtration unit is associated with the cup-shaped ends of some tubes. These tubes collect urine. In each kidney, about 1 million such filtration units are present. These filtration units, which are present in kidneys, are called nephrons. That is the functional unit of the kidney. You all must practice the diagram from figure 6.14, structure of nephron, from page number 111 of life process chapter from your science textbook. Urine formation occurs in 3 steps. They are filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. At cluster of blood capillaries in cup-shaped end, initial filtration is carried out. Through the tubular portion of nephron, reabsorption of substances from initial filtrate occurs. The reabsorbed substances include glucose, amino acids, salts, and major amounts of water. These substances are selectively reabsorbed from the tubular portion into the surrounding blood capillaries. Then the remaining final concentrated filtrate is collected as urine by ureters. There are certain criteria on which the amount of reabsorbed water volume is dependent on. What are the criteria on which the amount of reabsorbed water is dependent on in the kidneys? The amount of water that it is reabsorbed depends on how much excess water there is in human body, and it depends on how much of dissolved waste there is to be excreted. So, the amount of excess water in the body and amount of dissolved waste to be excreted from the body, these two decide how much of water that has to be reabsorbed. If water in the body is very less, then the reabsorption will be what? More. If already there is excess water in the body, then reabsorption will be what? If the water, there is very less in the body, very less water is there in the body, then the amount of reabsorbed water from the filtrate will be more in order to retain the water in the body. If already there is excess water in the body, then the amount of reabsorbed water will be less. That is one criteria. If there is very less dissolved salts in the filtrate, then amount of water that is needed to pass out the urine is less. So reabsorption can be more. If the dissolved waste is more, then the amount of water to release that dissolved waste should also be more. So reabsorption will be less. So based on the criteria, based on these two criteria, how much excess water there is in the body and how much of dissolved waste that has to be excreted out from the body. These two things decide how much amount of water that has to be reabsorbed by the tubular portion. From the tubular portion. Urine that is formed in the kidney enters into ureters and finally into urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until the pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge to pass it out through urethra. As and when some drops are entering into urinary bladder, immediately we are not going for urination. Once the urinary bladder is completely filled, then only we will go for urination. Means the urinary bladder, once it is full, it will get expand and it will give a signal, urge to go for urination. So the pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge to pass it out through urethra. As urinary bladder is muscular, means urinary bladder is made up of muscles and it is under nervous control. So we can usually control the urge to urinate. We can usually control the urge to urinate because the urinary bladder is muscular and it is under nervous control. This is how the excretory system in human beings works. And in the next class, we will discuss about excretion in plants and dialysis. If kidneys fail to function, what steps that we are going to take? That is hemodialysis. How hemodialysis occur, how excretion takes place in plants, and there are certain practical experiments that have to be explained, which I did not explain previously. So all such things let us explain in the coming classes. Thank you.